Hello you lovely lot and welcome to a new video. It feels like absolutely ages since I last recorded a video, which I don't think it's been that long, according to YouTube anyway, but I feel very out of practice because I've been busy with a lot of other stuff, so I do apologise if I seem even more chaotic than usual, because I don't script my videos anyway, because you can tell I'm reading off a screen if I script them, so I just talk and then I talk too much and then I just edit the talking down until it fits the length of the footage. So that's how I edit. It's very professional. So, hello again. Sorry it's been a little while. I have had a lot of other stuff going on, and a little announcement before I get into the rest of this video. As of today, the day I'm recording this, which will be a couple of days before it goes out publicly because my patrons get to see my videos first, I am a full-time artist, so I just handed in my notice at my retail job. I've been working in retail for 10 years now, and over time, originally my art was kind of like a side thing. It was a very small like hobby, then I started to make a little bit of money, then I actually like registered as a business and so on, and then it got to the point where my retail work was actually getting in the way of my freelance, and I make more money doing freelance than I would in a minimum wage retail job. So it got to the point where between that and with the current situation with everything going on, I work in a busy like city centre and I've got underlying health conditions, and between all of that I just made the decision to give in my notice, and as of now I am a full-time artist. So it's very nerve-wracking, but at the same time it's very exciting. I feel like I've made quite a lot of progress recently with my work. I don't know how obvious that is to everyone else, but I have been studying and working hard to kind of improve my methods and my skills, and trying out different products in my store and giving more options with commissions and so on. And I just am really looking forward to what I can do now that I know that I have the time to dedicate to it, whereas before it was very much working around the retail shifts because they were constantly changing. Like I'd have different hours every week, I'd get really weird annoying shifts that were like in the middle of the day, so you can't really get anything done because you have to leave for work and then you come back and it's time for dinner and so on and blah blah blah. So it's going to be really nice to not have to kind of work everything around another thing that is constantly changing and just generally being annoying. And this is a big maybe, but I might be looking into starting streaming in the new year, not on YouTube. Twitch is definitely a more viable option. I'm sorry, don't demonetize me, YouTube. But that's what I'm thinking of right now, but that's going to be a maybe because I currently have very slow internet. As you could tell from the fact that I tried streaming on here and it didn't work out because my internet was so slow, there was a horrible lag. And so yeah, if I decide to change to a new internet provider, which will cost a lot more, so obviously that's a big risk, I might start streaming, but in the meantime, what I know I will be doing for sure is sort of offering more commission options, more options on my Patreon, new merch in my store, and so on and things like that. So that's just my little announcement I wanted to get out of the way, and I just wanted to say a massive thank you because I am so hugely grateful to everyone who supports my work in whatever way you support it, whether it's buying something in my store or ordering a commission or pledging to my Patreon or retweeting my work or sharing my videos with other people or commenting or liking or anything like that. It just really, every little helps, so thank you so much. Also, as another side note, I'm sorry if you can hear like noises in the background of this video. The weather is really bad right now, and it's just making a lot of noise, so I do apologise. So on to the subject of this video, which is what I'm actually here to talk about. This is a monthly Patreon illustration, and as per usual, this is one that was suggested and voted on by my patrons, and they wanted to see some of my D&D characters with their classes swapped. I didn't put Patreon monthly illustration in the title of this video. I'm not going to be doing that anymore just because I feel like there's so many of them, it's going to start getting a bit monotonous, and then you can't really see the full title if I put Patreon monthly illustration in the front of it. So it is one of those, I just didn't call it that. So yeah, I decided to go for a small selection of my D&D characters, because at this point I have about 20 in various stages of use, if that's the right word. Some like haven't been played yet, some have been played for one session and their campaign went on hold, or some were for one-shots or whatever. So I just went for kind of a mixture of them, and I actually gave myself way too much work. So with this piece I ended up taking longer than expected on it, but hopefully the end result was worth it. My patrons were happy with it, and that's the most important thing, because they were the ones who wanted to see it in the first place. So for the characters that we have here, on the left we have my tiefling rogue Cadence, who I made into a druid for this piece, and specifically she is now a swamp druid, just because my patrons suggested, because she's so kind of, she likes her clothes to be very neat and tidy, and she's very sophisticated, she's very elegant, she does not like trudging around in the wilderness. So a swamp druid is pretty much the exact opposite of her aesthetic, and I really like that, so I ran with it. And I've played Cadence only once, but she just really kind of made an impression on me, and I really like her. And I probably won't be doing like a full illustration on her, because she is just a one-shot character. She's not like a fully developed character with a big backstory. But basically, Cadence was born into nobility, she was engaged to someone, and then he stole her fortune and ran away. And instead of deciding she would become the better person, Cadence decided herself to turn to a life of petty crime, and now robs wealthy people, and doesn't really allow anyone to get close to her emotionally, which I'm hoping that she will eventually, but I probably won't get to kind of play that out with her as a character. But I'm really fond of her, even if she is absolutely awful, and I just had a blast playing her. So the one shot I played her in was also about finding an orchard with silver leaves, and when you go inside there's an enchantment that makes you tiny, so we're basically borrowers for most of the game. But of course, Cadence was pretty much the first one to go into the orchard because she saw silver leaves and thought, well, there's something I can make money on. So she pretty much caused the problem in the first place, but I love her so much. Next along we have Vespatine, who is my tiefling wizard, and you've seen Vespatine before because I've made a full video about him, so I won't ramble about him too much. I will put the video in the corner for you to take a look at it. And I made him into a barbarian for this piece, which again my patrons suggested, and they also went as far as to suggest Vespatine with his shirt off, or no shirt at all. He never had a shirt. So this is a very, very out of character Vespatine, because he's usually very bookish, very awkward and nervous, and would definitely not be seen in public with his shirt off. So I really had a lot of fun with this one, and honestly, Taran and Vespatine just completely swapped classes. I originally intended to have like direct class swaps between some of my characters, but then some of the other suggestions were too good. So he has actually directly swapped with Taran. So next to him we have Taran, who is my wildling barbarian. You may remember Taran was originally an elf, but I actually made him into an NPC in my campaign, and he is now a part of a custom race called wildlings. So he has been made into a wizard for this piece because of the swap with Vespatine, so he's an evocation wizard. And is it evocation or evocation? You know what, it's one of those words I've read all the time and I don't think I've ever said it out loud. So anyway, he makes elemental based spells, that's what he does. And because Taran is very much sort of a hands-on kind of fighter, he's very physical, he uses a warhammer, he gets involved in a lot of bar brawls because he's stupid, or he used to. In my campaign he's actually settled down and is a blacksmith and has a nice husband, and he's just chilled and mellowed and he's having a great time. But in his youth, in his lack of wisdom, he used to get involved in a lot of fights. So I thought a nice contrast would be a wizard involving a lot of sort of book study and learning and throwing magic around, which was very unlike the usual Taran. And then next to him we have my boy Ez, and there is a full video about Ez on the way, so again I will not say too much, but if you follow my other social media you will probably have seen a lot of Ez, because he is my baby, he's my sweet boy who has never done anything wrong in his life. If anyone tells you that he has, they're wrong, because he's doing his best, I promise. and he is a half-orc sorcerer, which I play in a campaign called Beyond Skeletons, which is a Ghost of Saltmarsh campaign. It's not far off being finished. I think we're close to the end of the campaign, which makes me really sad. And he is a paladin for this picture. I made him into an Oath of Vengeance paladin, actually a level 21, just so I could give him wings. So level 20 Oath of Vengeance because something happened to his crew, which he's been wanting to get some form of revenge for much of the campaign, and so I thought that oath kind of suited for this class swap. Also, Ez is physically not very strong, his AC is terrible, and so Ez in armour just seemed like a nice contrast, and it was really fun to draw. Also, this is canonically the last picture involving Ez's left leg, because he unfortunately lost a leg a few sessions ago. So, yeah, he now is down one leg, so rest in peace to Ez's leg. But more about that in the actual Ez video. But yeah, I had a great time drawing Ez as per usual, just because I love him, even though his face caused me some problems getting that right. And I had a lot of fun drawing the magic as well, coming out of his hand. And then below Ez we have my other sweet baby, Reed, who is a halfling fighter normally. And I made them into a rogue, and this was again another suggestion from patrons. I believe that Paladin Ez was also a suggestion because they wanted to see him in armour, but yeah, Reed was a suggestion. I just realised I was supposed to draw them in leather trousers and I didn't. I'm so sorry patrons, I forgot that part. I did promise to draw them in leather trousers. Maybe I will draw leather trousers Reed at another point. But yeah, this was basically because Reed isn't generally that sneaky. They're a halfling and they're small, but they're quite sturdy. They tend to tank it out in fights because the other characters in the campaign are mostly magic users. So Reed tends to just kind of get in there in the front and whack people around with their warhammer, which is almost as tall as they are, at the ground height of 3 feet tall. And so I thought a little sneaky rogue would be good, and I think they look really cute. They look way more intense and focused than they normally do. Reed is usually going after snacks somewhere or just off trying to make friends, generally being a good bean. And again, I will talk about them in a future video, so you'll be able to hear a bit more about them then. Like I said, this video was a challenge because the group pictures are always a challenge. I've done a couple now, and I am still planning to make some for each of my campaigns. I was making one for Beyond Skeletons, but everything was pretty much out of date in the Beyond Skeletons one within a few sessions, because we play every week, and so the story is kind of changing and shifting very fast, so characters tend to change appearance quite a lot, at least for Ez and a few others. And so pretty much as soon as I did it, it was out of date, so I'm probably going to start that one again. But yeah, I've been meaning to do them for each of my campaigns, and group pictures are a lot of fun to do. It's one of those things where I'm really glad I'm a digital artist, because I would not like the idea of trying to fit this amount of characters into an image on paper. I think I would have pulled my hair out by now with the stress of trying to do that. So with this I did a lot of moving around and shifting about and resizing characters. Still not sure if Ez is a bit too big, but he is 7 feet tall, so perhaps he's accurate. But yeah, I did restart the line art because I decided partway through that I didn't like it, unfortunately, so I decided to give myself more work and start all over. I am currently using the Mix brush by the amazing Tricky Wagon, which is such a good brush. I absolutely love using it, and I've been using it for all my line art lately as well as my sketching. So if I can find the link, I'll put it below. If not, I'll just put a link to Tricky Wagon's channel, and you should check them out because they're really inspirational and a really amazing artist. So then I did fairly simplistic colouring. It's mostly just a single layer of shading. I didn't do much blending just because there was a lot going on. I didn't want to overcomplicate the image with a lot of complex shading and lighting, especially with all the spells being thrown around and all the light sources. I wanted to focus on these really sort of intense, sharp highlights and pops of colour. And I really like how it turned out in the end. I was a bit worried halfway through that it was going to be a bit questionable. You know, you get to that halfway stage where you think, this is terrible, I wish I'd never started it, and you get that sunk cost fallacy where you're like, do I give up or do I keep going because I've invested this many hours? I told you this was going to be chaotic. So yeah, I am glad in the end that it turned out okay, because I was a bit worried for a while there that it was going to turn out very much not okay. So my patrons really liked it, and that makes me happy too. And I'm going to be running some pre-orders for prints in my store quite soon, because I usually do pre-orders because I order my prints externally, I don't do them myself. So I don't really have anything to lose from offering pre-orders in case people are interested in particular designs, so keep an eye out for that. I may be adding it as a print pre-order if anyone would like to purchase one for themselves. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about this piece, because I don't want to ramble too much about certain characters if they're going to have videos coming up that are kind of focused on them. But yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed watching the process of this and that you like the end result, and hopefully I'll be back soon with another video. I'm kind of taking it more chill with the videos because I need to prioritise commissions and so on with going full-time now, but they will still be on the way, just not at a kind of particular schedule. I don't know why I said that, I don't have a schedule, I've never had a schedule. But, you know, just the videos will be as and when, so I hope you'll enjoy them. And as per usual, patrons will get to view them 48 hours in advance. So if you're interested in checking out my Patreon, you can look at the description below, so that will be super appreciated. And I hope you enjoyed the video, so thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!